My TFX has been sitting for like 8 months now. I don't even know what to do with it anymore. Huh, TFX 2. That's right, guys, my TFX tray that's been sitting for 8 months has finally gained a purpose, and that purpose is to go back to HK Army. HK Army provides an exchange program for the original TFX tray. For $70, you get this. You keep your old shell. They send you a new tray, charging cable, and you exchange the TFX and you send it back to them. It's a pretty great program. 70 bucks isn't too bad for kind of getting back a new hopper. It's literally just been sitting, and I haven't been able to figure out what to do with it because the BSL hasn't given me any issues. If I need another hopper to lend to a friend, I have my Z2 that I still use every once in a while, which surprisingly has amazing battery life because I have not changed the battery in the Z2 in probably a year and a half, and it still has green batteries. It's crazy. Anyways, so the big question is the TFX2 an improvement over the first one? Yes, there's the rechargeable battery. They've updated the tray, or the lift on it. It's a little thicker. And they added an eye sensor to the new tray. But mechanically, where my issue was on the first one, how well does it feed? And I have to say, it feeds amazing now. It's completely different, behaves completely differently. The feeding is very reliable now. Now, I just got this yesterday. I haven't gone out to the field or anything to use it, but obviously I'm pretty familiar with the original TFX. So I already know kind of where they needed to make improvements to the second one. So today we're going to be doing, we'll do a little bit of a weight comparison. We'll check the capacity of this thing. Everyone online or on the review channels are always like, oh, it holds 210, 220 paintballs. That's not the case. 100% not the case. The most I got out of this one was 180. And with you see the way the tray is. The tray is much thicker because it holds the battery on the TFX2. And this got 170 balls. So nowhere near the 200 claim or 200 whatever claim. So it is one of those hoppers that you kind of have some difficulty with pouring a pot in the middle of a game unless you're completely out of paint. So it's not the greatest in that aspect. So we'll come in and get a closer look and actually see how the feeding mechanism works. And I will take some time to recreate the issue that I had with the TFX, as people didn't believe me that this was a true problem. But I just want to show that this is like a constant issue that this tray has always had. And we'll compare it and see how well the TFX2 performs. So I just counted these. This is 180 paintballs. We're going to be filling up the stock tray in the stock shell. We're going to do a quick capacity check and then a quick drop test to compare the two trays. So you can see that this is packed pretty tight. I mean, this is like myth busted. All the other channels on YouTube that cover the TFX, they're always like, oh, there's 210 or 220 ball capacity. This is exactly 180 paintballs, and this is stuffed to capacity. Like, I wouldn't pack it this tightly, just given the past how it's jammed on me with it being packed this tightly over the feed system. But we're gonna see if we can do a quick drop test. And then we'll compare the capacity of the TFX2 with the stock TFX. So we'll get the stopwatch out real quick. Let's see what it does. I'm just going to show that it's on. Gonna let go and start the timer. So the batteries I just had in the TFX2, or the first TFX, are brand new Duracell batteries. I just got this from HK Army, and it's running at 3/4% capacity, or battery life. So I'm gonna load it into the tray, and then we'll fill it up and see if it matches the same capacity. I'll be very surprised given the thickness of this zero gravity tray. I mean, it doesn't even compare. This one sinks down so much further than the two. All right, so this is slightly more packed than the first TFX, and we still have 7 balls left. So just to kind of match it, we'll remove some and put these back into the container over here. All right, so I think it's fair to say that the capacity of the TFX2 is right around 170 compared to the first TFX tray. So we'll do another drop test here. I imagine this will be significantly faster than the first TFX. So we reset it. Make sure to turn the TFX on, and we'll go. Quick weight comparison between the two. We have the stock TFX. Just show that there's batteries in it. 224 grams. I mean, this one has a built-in battery. 211. So if you remember from my last video, I showed examples of the TFX failing to feed reballs. These aren't actual reballs. There's a couple of them in there, but these are more knockoff reballs. They before would constantly get stuck or jammed in this loader or in this feed system, and in my very first video, that's when I pointed out that my loader would turn off once it got jammed, and I showed how useless this button is here on the side, because it just only advances the feeding system, and if it's jammed, that's not going to do anything. That's not going to help you at all. So I'm just going to re-show the same issue again, just to prove that it exists, because I had some people comment and say that I held my finger on the activation switch, keeping it from feeding, which is ridiculous. So let's see if we can fill this up. Maybe I'll be surprised and actually feeds it this time, but I doubt it. So I just turned it on and it already jammed. Can you see that? You see that? Look at it! Look at it! Look at it! Jammed. So we're gonna dump these out and take a look at what's happening. That's what happens when it jams. You can kind of take this one out. That one will feed through. But the jam occurs from these lower pedals, or paddles. The original TFX, this slips, which is smart, that this outer tray slips. And that's what affects the tensioning that's on the bottom of the tray here. This controls that slipping, the resistance here. I have it on the medium setting right now, so you can see. But it's on, but it won't feed. And now it comes to life. We'll see if I can capture that again. Jam. So this is just a refresher on why I stopped using the TFX. Just because of this jamming issue, it's kind of nonsense. So I'm happy to say that the new TFX design has completely improved and eliminated these issues. As you can see here, if a ball gets stuck, everything starts shaking. It starts trying to unjam itself, including the bottom paddles. Not only the top, like it was on the previous TFX, so you can see. So the top is slipping, but you jam the bottom, it turns off. So this is already a huge improvement. So when it's jammed, or I have my finger in through the sensor right now. If you push the advance button, it still does that turning, but when it's jammed, if you push the advance button now, it really tries to unjam it, which is awesome to see that they addressed the issue and they fixed it. Maybe my first gen TFX had an issue with that and they fixed it soon after, but I mean, it really shouldn't have happened in the first place. But I'm very happy to see that this is working now. So we'll do a quick feeding with the reballs, it seems like it shouldn't have any issues. Before the TFX, I would never trust feeding reballs with. This should be good though. All right, turn it on. It's unjamming itself as it's feeding. It's a huge improvement from the first TFX. So in conclusion, HK Armory definitely addressed all the issues that the original TFX had, aside from ball capacity. I mean, it is a completely different animal now. It's constantly, as soon as it gets jammed up, it constantly unjams it and is like ready for any issue that seems to pop up. As you saw from that reball video, you could see it was constantly pulling back to allow the jam to unjam itself, or the ball to unjam itself. Very happy with it. I'm thankful that I can finally get rid of this piece right here. I'm excited to have another hopper now, because I do really like the way that the TFX looks. So yeah, I hope this video was informative. If you guys have a TFX, you guys aren't happy with it, but you like the look of it, get the TFX 2. It's a great hopper now, it really is. So thanks for watching, guys.